I'm Tom King, and this is 4K Skywatching, Season 3, Episode 5. Last time on 4K Skywatching, it was a video of the green electric tube. This thing I thought was giving off possible Morse code. Maybe it's a heartbeat. This time on 4K Skywatching, we're going to look at the red hockey puck caught on the 4K dome camera. So, we're going to get into a deep dive on the video, and we're going to show you everything, so sit tight, and here we go. So this is the beginning of the capture of the red hockey puck. The object is moving down. I just zoomed in on it. This is with the Lorex 4K dome camera. This is going to be the original video, uncut. So we're just going to play it all. This is the most transparent Skywatch there is, where I show you the entire video, my process of post-production, of looking at it, of analyzing it, and publishing the results, which we're doing right now. So this is the object that came down on the surveillance camera. It's interesting. It looks like the old hockey puck type of object that I used to film back in the 1990s, except this one has a red tint to it. Red is a color of hockey puck that I have never seen before. Not in my videos. They're usually a silvery color. So this thing is, when you see the camera going up, I'm repositioning the camera. So the object is moving down right now. And when I'm saying it's moving down, it's actually moving away from me. This object is right over downtown Chandler. I would estimate the altitude somewhere, it's hard to say, I would put it between maybe 6,000, 8,000 feet, somewhere in that area. You can see it's kind of moving over to the right. When I saw this object, I could instantly tell this isn't a grocery bag. This doesn't have the grocery bag look, doesn't have the handles. There's some type of rotation going around in the object, and the color is interesting. So this definitely isn't any type of normal sky trash that I see in the sky. This thing was up a total time during my capture of about 20 minutes. So it's kind of arcing and still heading in the same direction. So the object was closer to me before I actually detected it. So it's going to go a bit in and out of focus here. So it's in focus at this point, and you could see it. It's interesting. What kind of object is this? This does not fit in with regular stuff that you see in the sky. This is an abnormal object. The first thing that I thought I might have is possibly a drone. Eliminating the other things that could come to mind from the mundane, a drone is the thing that I'm thinking, well, could this be a drone? But we are in Class B airspace, so this is up at the altitude where it could hit a plane taking off or a plane leaving from Sky Harbor Airport. At this point, you can see the object is slowing down. And at this point, it's moving down, so I'm not touching the camera. And this is one of the best views of the object. You can see it kind of shifting over to the right. So the object is actually nearly in a hover. So hovering and rotating is what this object looks like it's doing here. This is one of the objects I showed George Knapp and the Netflix crew. And they like this one. There's going to be some analysis when the video is complete of mapping this out and looking at this zoomed in at some of the best shots. So I like to film it and then think about, just leave the camera and let this do its thing. Let it pass by the camera and study it, because when it's all said and done, I want to film it so I can do post analysis on the object to figure out what it is. This thing is strange. It doesn't fly like a drone. It's flying very slow, like it's blending in. This thing I would say is traveling at wind speed, but you could see it looks like it's moving however it wants. It tracks in different directions. Mostly it's going away from the camera or down from perspective wise, but towards the end of the video, it shifts over to the left. So it's actually moving around me. There's a theory that a lot of skywatchers have that the more powerful your gear is, the farther away UFOs will be from your gear. So they stay in a zone where you're not going to just totally get them dead to rights. This is probably the best part of the video, I think, where it comes down and basically just hovers. Right there. It came down and it did a stop. Shifted over to the right a little bit. And it's just paused. I'm at maximum zoom right now. So I'm at 25 optical power. Manually zoomed in and just letting that thing sit there and hover. So this is pretty abnormal. When you watch drones, they don't fly around kind of like this. You know what I mean? I mean, everybody knows how drones fly. They either hover, the guy sits there with the controllers, and then it kind of zips away and it goes over to some direction. It'd be highly illegal to have a drone up this high in this day and age, with drones that have transponders to tell the airport exactly whose drone is where and what it's doing. So now this starts tracking over to the left. This is where I end up losing it, unfortunately. And I have a lot of cameras. At this point in my process, I have the all-sky camera. I have the north, south, east, west camera. I have the entire fireplace capped with cameras during this upgrade. So during this process, here I'm zooming back, but during this process then, once I get a capture in a dome camera like this, then I collect every single camera and I start mapping out where it goes. So that's the entire video that's worth watching. This is a recap of the time where the object comes down and it does a hover. So it's at 2:49 on the timestamp. So people at home, you can download this video and do your own analysis on it. That's why I post this stuff. I want people to do their own video analysis. Don't trust what I say. Trust, but confirm. Like Reagan used to say. Back it up. Look into stuff yourself. On my channel, I show you different tools that you can use to analyze videos, different pieces of software out there. So go have at it. Use that to analyze my videos. Use it to analyze other people's videos. So this was the best shot of the video during this portion. And this is the portion of the video that's going to get heavily studied. And at this time right now, I'm running it through Kia Novia. And I'm tracking the object. So this is tracking its speed at pixels per second. And this tracks. So this is a good software tool to use to look at videos like this and then see, is there flight patterns? Is there different ways that these fly? After a while, there will be patterns that will reveal themselves to you by using tools like this. It'll take time to build up databases of how these things fly, and you'll see similar track patterns as time goes on through my videos and other people's videos. So this is an interesting object. It's a rare one. I don't see this thing often. And like I told George, every time I record a UFO, somehow it costs me $1,000 because then I go out and buy a better camera so I could record that better. And that's how I ended up with other cameras. So this is a zoom in of that portion where of the video we just watched of whatever this is. So it has that distinct black bottom, and then it has something that looks like it's rotating clockwise at the top. And that's why I thought, well, maybe this is a drone. But why doesn't it look like a drone? Why doesn't this fly like a drone? Who can get a drone up 8,000 feet in the sky for a half hour, willy-nilly? Why are there different colors coming off of it? Why is it red and then sometimes it's silver? And it also, there's something that, it has a look like there's something broken on it, like almost some violence going out of control. I think I got a cosmic watch hit during this, and I also collected the cosmic watch data from this capture. So this is a zoom in on it, and it's slowed down of the red hockey puck. And it looks just like the object that I was recording 1996, 1997. Was shooting these type of objects. Every few months I was collecting a pretty good video of one of these on Super VHS. And actually, I get better resolution of these on Super VHS than I did on 4K, because the higher resolution your video capture gear is, the farther away the UFOs will be. So they'll still push back and give you about the same of what you had before. So there's a theory that if I were to go back into Skywatch only with tape cameras that I have, like a high 8 camera, that these UFOs would come closer. A colleague of mine named Jennifer actually runs around with a 1999 high 8 tape camera. So if she films something like that, you know it's probably pretty hard to fake, because it's a lot more difficult to fake things back in the analog era of tape. So this is the part where the object is hovering. And this is zoomed into the max to try and get some details out of it. But that's what I'm getting out of the red hockey puck. I would love a chance for this thing to come back and for me to get it on that new dome that I have that has 45 power zoom and then some. That thing is almost like a dome camera with a P900 on it. It's a really, really good zoom on that thing. I believe I got a cosmic watch hit off of this. I'm not sure. It was a couple of years ago. But there's a process that happens during UAP capture, is to grab every camera off the NVR and save them to see if maybe it flew by one of those cameras before, during, or after this capture. Maybe there's more additional footage of it. Another process is, at this point, I'm running 3 cosmic watches. Why? Because I'm crazy. I'm insane. One wasn't good enough, so I ended up with 3. But anyway, I grab all 3 of those files, and then we can look at that. We can see, did the UFO show up visually while there were any cosmic watch muon spikes. So that's another sensor capture. A new one coming is going to be radar. If I have this radar up and running, did it show up on radar? And then another one is, was there any type of magnetic disturbances that this captured in UFOdap's computer system? So collect that, collect the weather conditions, collect the wind speed, then collect the radio frequencies from Hacker RF1. There is a method ChatGPT has that you can do a command through Windows PowerShell, and you could monitor 1.6 gig or any frequency, and it'll save a file if anything happened. So auto detection through Hacker RF1 is another thing I'm putting into action. So there's a number of collection things that have to go on scientifically when you get a capture like this, is actually over that dead tree on the right. So right now the video is going through Adobe After Effects, and I'm going through different parts of the video I'm running this video, about 10 clips. There were about 10 different areas of this video that I took out the movement and centered just the object, looking to see if this thing accidentally revealed what it is. So looking through, I mean, you can end up with thousands and thousands of these frames. I kind of see the same thing over and over and over of this object, except the only changes that we seem to have with the object or how it moves and how it flies. So I'm convinced what this isn't. It's not a grocery bag. This is not a bird. This is not normal sky trash flying around. This isn't a balloon. This isn't a jellyfish. I don't think it's an egg. It looks a lot like the hockey puck type object from the 90s. Now, for the mundane things, people can be looking at this saying, okay, so why isn't that a drone? Let's talk about that. For this to be a drone, somebody is breaking the law by putting other people's lives, a couple hundred people's lives in danger in an aircraft from Sky Harbor Airport, plus all the people's lives in danger on the ground should that aircraft crash because of this object and come down. Okay, another thing. This object is a dead ringer for what was recorded in UFO flaps in the 1990s. From 1991 until the late 1990s into the 97, 98, this object was repeatedly captured on different people's VHS, Super VHS, and tape cameras over and over and over. This predates drones. This is the same type of thing that we would see in the 90s showing up now 20 years later and saying, here it is again, and it looks the same. So this possibly is that same type of UAP from 20 years ago that's still flying around like this. Why don't we see more of this? God only knows. Maybe they change these out, and maybe they get newer models. I just don't know. I'm just film these things, collect them, analyze them, and release the information after I've studied it. So I don't know what these are. I'm sure other people have seen these. I've seen these rarely in other people's videos. Typically, we see white phosphorus type of objects, pulsing type objects. So here is another one of the 10 clips where the object was stabilized, and we're looking at this object as it goes through its motions and methods. And sometimes it's interesting. It looks like something's shining out, or kind of broken. You know how like a helicopter blade spins? And imagine one of the blades gets broken, and you kind of have just one of the helicopter blades spinning, not two. That's kind of what this looks like sometimes, is like some kind of extra out of control blade or something. It's hard to describe. I want to know what you guys think. Leave comments on what you think this is. What's your best guess? You guys have looked at a lot of videos. You've seen a lot of videos that I've shot. You've seen a lot of videos around the internet and the world that I haven't seen. And everyone has a different experience of what they're exposed to and what they've seen. But there is something going on at the very top of this. That is the key to whatever this is. At first I thought, is this a balloon? It's just like, because I don't like Skywatching in February, because when Valentine's Day comes, you end up with a lot of heart-shaped balloons. You end up with a lot of sky trash that's red. This object is quite a ways after Valentine's Day, so I kind of threw that theory out the window. I usually try to think, what is this? This got to be mundane, but I'm at a loss for this one. This is also different than the M video. The object in the M video is not this. This is something different. The object in the M video, when you do this to it, like I've done, where you stabilize the object and you zoom in and you say, okay, what do we got here? That thing looks like the M video looks like a optical sky trash moving around from 0 to 350 miles an hour. This thing is different. This thing is consistent with its, I don't know, I guess I call it violence of whatever it's kind of doing at the top. And there could be a pulse to this too. It could be that it's just so far out of range that it's kind of doing some type of pulsing of the lights at the top. Also, if this was a drone, they used a lot of battery power to get this up this high. But then again, we have a drone that went over Davis Monthan Air Force Base years prior to this, and they assigned a military or a police helicopter, went after it, and this thing outran the police helicopter if this was that drone. So there are objects out there like that. So that has to be considered. That has to be part of the equation. Now that, whatever that drone was that kicked the Tucson police helicopter's ass, outran them, that couldn't have been the 1991 hockey puck type object. But since that object is in play and that object goes around, and taunts Palo Verde nuclear power plant and whatnot, and then we have the video from Louisiana of 5 of these things location. It could be one of those. It could be one of those weird drones that comes out of the water and imitates our aircraft, and we just don't know what the hell this is. So this could be an object that's imitating one of our objects and trying to blend in. This is typical of a lot of these captures where it moves in a kind of consistent manner, and it doesn't do, it reverses and hovers and it does some interesting moves, but there aren't any fast takeoffs like on the M video. That thing was bouncing off the sky and it was going at high velocities. Each video, they kind of do their own thing. Another thing I think about when I look at this object is when it turns, does it tilt? Because drones, when they stop, they usually have to bank up a little bit. And you'll notice this if you're a drone pilot, that when you take off, they dip forward and so the propellers can move. That's how I see drones work. I don't see any of that type of drone movement as far as the object tipping and then heading in certain directions. So that's another observation as far as the movement. The thing actually just stays at this orientation the entire time and just either moves left, right, up, or down, or however it's going to go. It does not change that direction. We do see that with the flying humanoid videos. They do seem to pivot a bit at the hip area. On this object, we just see just that strange random violence. Now, I would like to run this through AI and see if there's any patterns here as far as the illumination, turning on, turning off. I'm not an expert in that area. I would like to know more about how to time pulses and illumination. So basically turning kind of like the video signals into kind of an online wave type of thing of when these pulses hit, because there might be a pattern to this of the flashes. So looking at a deep dive into UFO videos like this, we need to study every aspect of it, because once you start getting to the area where you have ruled out the mundane and now you're left with, well, we don't know what this is, then it's time to just break everything down about these videos that you possibly can, everything optically, how it moves, if you got any radio frequency signals, if it jammed any radio frequency, Did you get any thermal sensors on it? What kind of movement does it do? The whole gamut, and on and on. And hopefully, soon we'll know whether these things show up on radar or not. At least in my case, we do know that UFOs evade radar, and they somehow are stuck on this new upgraded military radar. I don't think they. That's a question I'm not sure about. Do they jam that or can they evade that? Because apparently they can cloak through regular radar, but they do show up on X-band radar intermittently from time to time. So there's no consistency to that. But there does seem to be some consistency that they are showing up on F-18 Aegis radar systems that that those military Navy guys have. I'm not an expert on any of that stuff at all. I'm not a Navy guy or a military guy, so they can speak about that. But it seems like these type of objects would show up because they say that they can track very, very small objects, size of a fist, 10, 20 miles out. So they should be able to pick this up. So that leaves the question, does Luke Air Force Base have this radar? Does Davis Monthan have radar like this? And if they don't, why? Do they need it? I'm not an expert on that either, but it'd be interesting to see if this type of radar upgrades not only spread through the Navy, but then spread through the Air Force and went around to different Air Force bases and retroactively, one by one, started upgrading all of the radar systems, because it might not be just the Super Hornets and the F-18 pilots are seeing these all of a sudden. It might be the military's just seeing hundreds and hundreds of these things all the time now. And they're probably told to just ignore these and focus on the mission at hand. And these are just things they can't explain that are in the sky, and they're observing us. This is actually a pretty good idea capture when you think about it. As a UFO comes down, hovers for a few seconds, allows you to get your instruments on it, and then it says, okay, you've had your shots, now I'm leaving. And then for some reason you lose it. As good as you are, capture after capture after capture, these things always evade you the best. Another reason it's probably UAP is, of course, your bags and balloons usually don't ditch you. You film those until you kind of get tired of them. And this object came in, hovered for a bit, did its photo opportunity, and then said, okay, I'm out of here, and then just kind of blended into the clouds. And I had a multitude of cameras, the up camera, the all sky. It was in the area. I saved those videos. So that's the red hockey puck. If you want to support the channel, you can join and become a member. It gives you access to videos early, plus extra videos, bonus videos, and extended scenes and extended sky watches. So hit that like button and hit that subscribe button if you're not a subscriber. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time on 4K Skywatching. I'm Tom King, and I'm out.